Well, this is a special episode of the Flyinlion podcast. I know normally we stick to the FC Cincinnati stuff, but with the MLS All-Star Game coming up, thought we would diversify and hop into, more MLS teams. And so I'd like to introduce to the podcast Mr. Eric Dick, currently Minnesota United FC goalkeeper, former Columbus Crew goalkeeper, former Sporting KC goalkeeper. He's kind of been around the bend as well in the USL Championship. So he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and happy to have him on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Let's talk soccer.
Yeah. So with all of us on the podcast, obviously this past weekend, FC Cincinnati got to play, so we'll touch on that, in the podcast. But we wanted to talk to Eric a little bit about the, not only life as an MLS player, but also, like I said, the All-Star Game coming up. Any thoughts on that? Just picking his brain on different things. So, Eric, give us a little bit of intro to, my other hosts here on the Flyinlion podcast, as well as, all the listeners. Give us a little bit of background, right? So where you're from, and we'll kind of go down from there.
Sounds great. Hello, guests and hosts of the Flyinlion podcast. My name is Eric Dick. I am a goalkeeper on Minnesota United. I was born in Kansas City. I moved to Indianapolis when I was 5 years old. So grew up in Indy most of my life. Went to Butler University. Before that, I did like high school soccer, rec soccer. Honestly, played all the sports growing up. Basketball and soccer were my two main ones. And then, I did the academy, my Indiana Fire Academy, my senior year. Before that, did like Carmel United, Hoosier FC. Those are the two clubs that I did. And then, just went to Butler for, I redshirted my first year. So I ended up spending 4.5 years there, learned a lot, forever in debt to the coaches and the players that, I spent time with, had some fun memories. Just senior year, we had a really good year. And I was lucky to get invited to the MLS Combine, and actually full circle got drafted to Sporting Kansas City, and played there for 3 years. Learned a lot, had fun, had a lot of barbecue. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, so that was pretty cool. And so, and then I got loaned my third year there to Phoenix Rising, which was awesome. And we made it to the finals, but unfortunately, COVID won, and we never played the final, unfortunately. And then got released and picked up by Columbus Crew. Spent a year there. Campeones Cup champion. And then got released and got picked up by Minnesota, and this is my second year in Minnesota. So and also when I was in Columbus, I got loaned out to Indy 11 for 4 games. That was awesome. Actually, forgot one. When I was in KC, I got loaned to Tulsa for 1 game as well. So literally just a game, and then I drove back. It was fantastic. So yeah, I've had a journey, and it's been great.
Were you always a goalkeeper like throughout like the whole process, or did you play in the field as well?
Growing up, I split halves. I was a striker, and then my other friend on the team would play goalie, and then we would switch. But then I grew, and the goalie jersey that we shared just didn't fit us both, and it just fit, and so I needed to get, that was actually part of the reason, but also but also I just love diving and I hated running. So I'm like, you go run. I'm just going to stand in this box right here, and I'm just going to try to save shots. So that's sort of, yeah. So I used to play striker, but I just, I'm weird and I like diving around a little bit better.
So pre-podcast, we were talking that you're going to teach Reynoso something. I think you have some validity to tell him about your shots, I guess, right?
Exactly. I think, he's very good at curling the ball. But, I think what he could work on a little bit is the knuckle puck. And that's my specialty. I don't know how I do it sometimes, but it just happens. So it's sort of like the serve in tennis where like, the speed serve or even the knuckleball pitch and we tennis and we baseball, you don't know how it happens, but it's very effective. So I have to teach him some stuff.
Zach, did you have a question you want to ask?
Oh yeah. So I guess throughout your career, you've had a lot of days of preparation. Have you developed any sort of rituals, or do you have like a specific thing you do? Because like I know like with Lester and Vardy, he would drink like porter before the game, and like, is there anything like weird that you do, or anything out of the normal?
See, I wish, like, knowing me, there should be something weird, like really, really, really good, like just knowing me. But I really am not. Like, I'll wake up, I gotta do something like physical. Like, I gotta go for a walk, I go for a bike ride, something like that. Get the body going. I'll take a nap, I'll eat food, and then just get absolutely hype in the apartment and just like blare music, and then on the car
Oh,
ride, and then on the car ride there, I'll blare music, and then in the locker room, I'll have like earbuds on and playing music. So, um, I mean, I put my left sock on first. I don't know why, but
no, that's pretty weird. Who does
Yeah, there it is.
that?
I was like, there it is. We're
probably the
waiting for
weirdest
it.
thing ever that I do. But no, I mean, there should be definitely, like, Sam knows me. Like, there should definitely be something weird that I do. Like,
There's probably more weird things that he does for a Chiefs game than he does for an MLS game for sure.
100%, 100%.
Interesting.
What's your music choice before the game?
Ooh. It varies. It really, really, really varies. I'm a big EDM before the game type of person.
Okay.
Like, I want to be like, punching the roof of the car safe while I'm driving. Don't do that at home, kids. And I mean, I don't know. And then, dude, sometimes Disney gets in there. You know what I mean? Like, there's some Disney songs that are like, some J Beebs. You got to switch it up sometime.
Stuff you can really sing to.
Exactly. It gives you, it gets the people going. But I don't know. I'm just a very big like up tempo music guy. So like, I mean, any song that just really gets you, honestly, any song that would get you on the dance floor, I'm listening to before a game. Yeah.
So talking about preparation though, along with music, like I know life as an MLS player and goalkeeper can be very taxing, and I've got to see it first person, watching you train. But how different from your perspective is your off-season training and then your in-season training? Like, what differences are there, if you could kind of explain that process?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the in season is so long, right? Like I mean, we report usually late January, and when you win the MLS Cup, you're done November, sometimes December, right? So, it's a very long season. Um, so I mean, I tend to, in the off season, I work with you and Kevin and Sagility and iFast, and these guys are great because they help just sort of like everything that happens to the body in season. It takes taxing like on the body, and so for me, I treat the off season as get the body right, get stronger, get healthy, and then also stay sharp soccer wise, and work on a couple of things soccer wise. But it doesn't need to be hammered on, because that's literally what you do for 10 months out of the year is you go crazy with soccer. And so you just got to be ready for preseason. And so I sort of, I do strength and conditioning, I think 3 times a week. And then I try to fit in a little bit of goalkeeper and like footwork at Sagility. Luckily Sagility, we're getting a little plug there. But I work on my feet a little bit, 2 times a week. And then in season, like, I mean, we have practice our practices are from like 10:30 to 11:30, 12 Monday through Friday, and then we have a game on Saturday, and it sort of ramps up like a mountain. It sort of like peaks at like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then as you get towards the game, it goes down. But we'll have goalkeeper training, you know, every single day, and then we'll do stuff with the team, and then after there might be finishing drills, and 2 times a week we might lift. So like it's a lot. I'd say it's like flipped. Like in the off season, I do more strength and conditioning stuff and less soccer stuff, but still some soccer stuff to stay sharp. But then in season, I think you do more soccer stuff and a little bit less like strength stuff. It's more maintenance mode, like strength work, if that makes sense. So it's just different, but all of it's important. But off season for me is just to get the body right.
Seems like the off season's gotten like shorter and shorter over the years too.
It definitely is. And again, it's, I mean, how well you guys do, right? Like, I mean,
true.
you're going to have a shorter off season, which, is sort of counterintuitive in my opinion. But at the same time is like you win MLS Cup. I don't think you're complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess touching on that a little bit, have you had like a moment, event, like a person or anything in the MLS or even like just in your soccer career in general that's made like an impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a lot of teams, right? So like I think the first day you just set foot on a game day in those stadiums are pretty memorable. I think, obviously I've made one MLS appearance, so like that game, it did not go well. But lots of good memories too from it. My mom flew in to see it at FC Dallas when I was with KC. So like, I mean, that was the dream come true just to be, playing there. But honestly, the one that comes to mind is I was in Columbus and, loved my time there. The coaches were great. Teammates were great. I just knew I could be doing more outside of training. And so I reached out to a goalkeeper coach named Stan Anderson, who put me in touch with a local goalkeeper coach, Chad Prickett. And he literally opened up his afternoons to me, and we did training sessions in the afternoon. So I was basically doing 2 days in Columbus just because I knew that I needed to stay sharp in case my name ever did get called, and I wanted to continue to get better. So honestly, Chad just literally sacrificed his afternoons and days to bring in other goalies and just put together training sessions to help me and push me. And that's something I'll forever remember and be thankful for. And I remind him of it every day. I still keep in touch with him, and I'm just extremely grateful for that. So that's going to stick with me for my entire career, because it's just, I was sort of stuck, you know what I mean? Like I was just trying to find a way to get better, and he provided a solution, and it was very selfless of him. So that was pretty cool for me.
That's pretty awesome. And this next question kind of ties into that a little bit. Are you able to like give a little insight on the goalkeepers union? And it seems like a lot of the goalkeepers know each other, so I feel like there's some way of other goalkeepers picking up each other and whatnot. Is there a really good rapport between other teams, goalkeepers, and that sort of thing? Is there common respect and whatnot?
100%. We're all on a talking app called Chat GK, like Chat GI or whatever. It's kidding. No, it is funny. It's like we're our own little group, right? We're all crazy. We all love diving around, saving goals. Like we all find what other people do cool, and we all point out what other goalies are doing wrong. Like, because it's just, we all go through the same training, like the same hours of dedication of stuff, and we have a mutual respect for the position and for people that choose to be in that position. And choose a career to in that goalkeeper spot. So I think, yeah, I mean it is crazy. Like Stan Anderson is the head coach of like Camp Shutout. He runs this ginormous goalkeeper camp and brings in people from all over the country just to have a ginormous goalkeeper camp. I went 1 year, but like I'm pretty sure he knows every single goalkeeper like on the face of earth
By name.
By name, probably has on the cell phone, has
right.
an email, but I mean, he's an amazing guy and he knows so much about the position. But I think that like that's just, I think it's a position that's always developing because players on the field are always developing, right? So like as field players develop, the position of goalkeeper always develops too. So like together, we are always trying to figure out different ways to be good at our job and be good at our position. And so we work together and like, think of different ideas, different drills and stuff that will allow us to continue to develop in the position too. And so I think that's part of it too, is like we're all just continuing to learn as the game just develops. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a mutual respect of craziness, throwing ourselves in front of soccer balls. Like, I mean, we all know we're weird. We all know like we're crazy and we love it. And I think it's cool. Like at games, after the games, we'll, high five all the goalies, the goalies will, ask how everybody's doing, like stuff like that. And yeah, it's just, it's cool. It's cool.
I think it's very much like a position that, has that family aspect, right? A lot of other positions seems like, a defender can play, up in the attacking, or a midfielder can play back. Like they can play different areas, but a goalkeeper, like that's your position. Like that's your one spot usually. And you kind of, like I said, you kind of make that your family.
Absolutely. And then when you Cruyff people or go up for corners and score bicycle goals, like we just go nuts. Like we have that stuff and we just celebrate it.
That's awesome.
Do you have an idol player that like growing up that you looked up to?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched so many. I'm a big fan of watching like YouTube videos, training videos. Like I watch a lot of game like videos and stuff, and games of just to watch and learn and enjoy soccer. But I like watching training videos because that's when you sort of learn fundamentals and techniques and stuff. I love watching Gigi Buffon, Edwin van der Sar, were my two, just because they're bigger guys. And I mean, Buffon's still playing and he's 82. And I don't know. I mean, each goalie has their strength and they learn how to like shine in those areas, right? And I think that's the position, is like you have certain strengths. Every goalkeeper is different. You have your strengths, and so you want to shine in those areas. And then the things that maybe aren't your best qualities, you just want to make sure that you continue to work on them, but they don't have to be your all-star things too. Like make sure your strengths are your strengths and those stand out. So I say Buffon was probably the person that I watched the most, just because he's just so technically sound, and that's why he's continuing to play. And he's just good, so that's also why he's continuing to play. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many different goalies out there, and that's why it's fun, because like you could watch one thing and then you could go to a different league and watch another goalie, and it's a whole different type of training, different style of play, and it's just you take little bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. Eric, I wanted to go back and touch on the time at Columbus, because I know this being an FC Cincinnati podcast, we kind of want to get, a little insight on, what the other side looks like, right? So are there any stories like you have from your time at Columbus? I know you already mentioned kind of one story that stood out from Columbus, kind of off the pitch, but any on the pitch or anything on the training ground?
For like Columbus, like
yeah, or like with Columbus, or like anything you heard about like FC Cincinnati, or like the rivalry, or anything specific.
Well, I heard that like you guys are losing that rivalry. Like I'm pretty sure that the win column stands a little bit short.
Eric,
for you.
you're a friend of the podcast right now. We'll try to keep it that way.
Ask the question. So am I wrong? Yeah. So I googled that actually, like right. No, I mean I was lucky because I got to Columbus right when they got a new stadium, a new practice facility, and it was just absolutely. I mean, it's incredible. They do things very well there. We do a ton of video, and the like they treat the players exactly like they give the players everything they need to be out there successful. The locker room was really fun when I was there, and it's just like really goofy and just I mean I think it was a rough rough year and when I was there in terms of results sometimes, but I mean the talent in the locker room is good. The city of Columbus really, I mean, enjoys. I mean, the city of Columbus is a sports town, so I mean they like their sport. I don't really know about story. I mean I know they don't like you guys.
Yeah.
I know that. But yeah, I mean honestly, all that I really know is the record. And that they're sitting pretty right now. But I mean, well, I think you guys should win some more games at home and then see what happens. I mean, you guys don't. Yeah, but no, I enjoyed my time there, and the training was great. I mean, they run it the right way there in Columbus. Yeah.
So with you being at Minnesota, how's the change with it being so cold? Are you able to adapt?
Yeah, I've never seen as many icicles or just frozen. I've broken like 5 different ice scrapers because
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if it's the quality of the ice or the quality of the ice scraper, but like I mean they just have completely snapped.
You need like a heavy duty bit like
I ordered it on Amazon. But I actually got called out. So like my first week here, I got called out at Trader Joe's because I'm like I probably have like I didn't have a big winter coat, so I had like 7 layers on, like 2 t-shirts, 3 sweatshirts, and like 2. I think that's 7. Yeah. And I walked to Trader Joe's in like a hat, gloves, everything, and like I'm checking out, and they're like, "You're not from here, are you?" And I'm like, "No, but like, how do you know that?" And like, well, you're dressed like a Eskimo or something like China. And I'm like, and it's like 10 degrees out. What do you want me to be like dressed?
Wow.
But I mean, no, I want to say I've gotten a little used to it, but like the terminology here is weird. Like anything less than 30, but like more than like 5 is claimed to be warm, which technically I don't think that's even possible because that's below freezing. So like
yeah, scientifically,
it makes no
doesn't
sense.
check out.
It doesn't check out with me, but like I can't argue it, right?
Yeah.
Like walking around in shorts in like 20-something degree weather. I'm not one of those yet, but like, you know, who knows, right? But no, it gets pretty cold up here.
How does that translate to the pitch though? Like in the like early start of the season, like that's got to be frigid being a goalkeeper, right?
So actually, so I mean, we're lucky. We go to like Florida and California in the first like couple months of the year, so we get out of all the fun stuff that's here. But then we do come back, and it's still very cold. One of the tricks that I've learned this year actually is you wear like surgical gloves underneath your gloves, and it keeps your hands ridiculously warm. Like they're gonna be very sweaty, but like your hands are like no longer like cold. So like now when I go on like winter hikes and stuff, I'll always put like surgical gloves on underneath my gloves, and my fingers like don't get frostbite.
That's pretty cool.
Ryan,
you should have told Matt Turner about that when he was playing. Did he get frostbite?
there could have been. Yeah, I should have dropped that knowledge to him. I guess that message got dropped in the chat GK. But oh, so like yeah, it's not great. I mean, the soccer ball feels like a rock, and you know, even kicking it is hard. But I mean, it's just you deal with it, and the grounds crew here does an amazing job, like heating the surface, getting the snow off. Like, I mean, dealing with the elements. These guys are pros. I mean, the snow plows here in Minnesota look like things from Transformers. Like, I mean, first like I hear, I'm like, okay, this thing's gonna change into like I don't even know, an alien, and it's just funny. Yeah, but
I wanted to segue a little bit. I guess you guys hosted the All-Star Game last year.
Yep.
Were you around that at all, or like, did you have any experience with that?
So obviously Dane, or one of our goalies, and was in there, and he balled out in that, and so that was cool for the whole city to be a part of that and watch him do so well. Artusi's goalie Alex Smear actually won the goalkeeper wars, goalie wars championship. So that Minnesota goalies did performed really well in their All-Star game. But that was cool just to have in the city and see all the good players and stuff. The really funny drill was like when they cross it and then they try to like volley it on the goal, and it's just fun to see the effort of the goalkeeper and like, you know, how hard they go. But no, yeah, I mean, I was around it, and the city was buzzing, especially just having Dane there, and I mean, he deserved it. He's such a talented goalie and had a great year last year, having a good one this year. So it was cool to see him there and be there in front of all of our home fans.
Yeah, to touch on this year's, I know, you know, looking at the roster, we don't have any Minnesota United FC players. I wanted to know your opinion. Obviously, you've been around the guys, you know, the whole year. Like, who are some snubs that, you know, the MLS or some of the fans maybe got wrong in your opinion?
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I think, I mean, I would go to bat for our roster today. Like, I think we have a very, very talented roster. I think, you know, we've been unlucky with some injuries this year and just some, you know, unlucky play sometimes. So, like, I think I mean, obviously, Emmanuel Reynoso is super talented, but maybe he hasn't done as well as he did last year, like numbers wise, but he's still amazing for us. And like Bongi has come alive this year and scored some goals for us when we needed him. You know, Boxy in the back for our center back. Like Dane has had some big games too. Like I think this year, again, I would put a lot of those players like on our team, and in the midfield, like we have, you know, Will and Asani, like have been doing great for us. But I mean, I don't know. I kind of like us under the radar. You know what I mean? Like just as like a sleeping giant, and we're gonna pounce the second half of the year. Obviously, I think we have some very big talent, and anyone who got on the roster is well deserved, of course. I just think that I think we're okay. I think we're okay. We're, you know, I don't think anybody's like, you know, bummed. I think everybody's just focused, ready to go, and excited to see how everybody does, you know, this weekend in the All-Star game. And it's a good opportunity for everybody. And again, everybody that's on there deserves it. So.
Absolutely. Sam, I think you want to segue into that big signing for Minnesota United.
Yeah, so you know, we wanted to talk about also, you know, touch on the All-Star game, and then you know, we talked on it, you know, before we started recording, but Timo Pukki coming over from Norwich, Premier League experience, MLS All-Star game against Arsenal. So a lot of Premier League atmosphere going around in the States right now. We got some friendlies coming up as well. What has kind of been your take on him, and what kind of impact, you know, speaking of the second half of the season, can he have on Minnesota United?
I mean, he's been practicing, I think, for a week or two. Like, I mean, but you can already tell he played last night. He played, you know, in Houston. Like, he's just a finisher. Like, he's very solid. He holds up the ball really well. He's exactly what we want on the team, and what we need right now is just someone that we can get the ball to, maybe make a move, put the ball in the net, you know, combine with Ray and all the other pieces. And very nice guy. You know, I don't know if you guys ever heard the situation of, like, if you had to swim a pool and there's an alligator in there, or you had to run across a football field and there's a grizzly bear there, which one would you choose? He chose the grizzly bear. So there's a fun fact for everybody, all you Pookie fans out there. He chose fancies himself against a grizzly bear instead of a alligator. But no, he came in and he started working, and he's gonna be a great addition for us. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, you've got a lot with the All-Star game coming and whatnot. Is there any like big European team or favorite Premier League team that you follow?
Again, it's sort of one of those where it's like I watch the big games. I watch as much as I possibly can. I didn't grow up, didn't really have cable. So like watching soccer wasn't the easiest for me in terms of like access. I would go over to a friend's house and watch it. And also I was running around playing all these different sports. So like I started, I don't know, I never really chose a team, which is bad. I've learned. But like I'll watch just to watch and learn. Because I mean that's how you learn the sport. You watch but again, as a goalie, I've watched more just goalkeeper stuff, and so there's not, yeah. I mean, sometimes if like, if there's a ton of Man City fans and they lose, like I'll just give them crap just to give them crap, just to start a little, start a little higher.
Yeah.
But there's honestly not a team that I really like, diehard fan for, but I just love watching it, because I know I can continue to learn.
Yeah. I think, like we had talked about MLS All-Star Game coming up, you got a kind of a break here. And I hope you enjoy it. We're going to wrap up this part of the podcast here. Eric, once again, we really enjoy you hopping on, get us some insight on not only, MLS life, but also MLS life as a goalkeeper. And, we really hope to have you on here maybe in the future as well.
Yeah, no, appreciate the opportunity. Best of luck with the podcast, and good luck with the rest of the season. Go Loons. Sorry. But no, I appreciate the opportunity. Would always be happy to come back on, and just wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
So Agility is a technology-driven soccer training facility. So we offer 6 facets of training. That would be Tech Touch, with ball launchers that work on your first touch, the TSZ, which is the ESA equipment and working on decision making. We also have a circuit. Circuit training would be taking the ESA equipment to the next level. It's kind of like a soccer obstacle course. Then we offer neuroscience training with our reflection tools, working on processing things a little bit faster, hand-eye coordination and such. We offer skills classes, which is your typical core skills training. Lots of people still enjoy that, so we work on a lot of attacking 1v1 skills. And then we also offer athlete development. So our athletes come here and they work on speed, agility, quickness, explosive movements, really just learning how to move and function a little bit better as an athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Just want to give another shout out to Eric Dick for hopping on the podcast. Like we said in the first half of the podcast, definitely going to be a future guest for, maybe years to come, but definitely, further down the season. I'm looking forward to talking to him a little bit more. But now back to what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, FC Cincinnati, and the win against Nashville. We want to hop right into that, do our regular review of the game, jersey swaps, card of the week, everything like that. So I'll let Ryan kind of take it away and, roll us down that path like he normally does.
Thanks, Sam. Game was wild, to say the least. This past Saturday, FC played Nashville. It was a 3-1 win. At times, I got very, very nervous about how the game was going, but ultimately a win's a win. 2 now in a row. We'll take 6 points over this past week. So I guess I'll ask Zach. We'll start with Zach this time. Zach, what do you think of the game? I know we were sitting there together.
I think that was the most emotional game I've sat through. Like, as far as just a regular season match, like, man, like them going up there, us having the goal and then taking away, then Nashville scoring. It's just a lot of back and forth, and just the calls just were every which way. The fans with the weather delay were getting chippy. It was what do you call it? Late night MLS, just shenanigans. Let's call it that. But it was a very entertaining match, to say the least.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you guys. I mean, I watched a little bit of it, and then obviously watched the rest of the highlights later. But Yeah, definitely seemed, especially with, I mean, Zach, I think a big point that you're kind of touching on there is the factor of the rain delay. I think that definitely got not only the players and the fans kind of amped up, like, all right, like there's a little bit more tension here than, there normally is, which there's usually a decent amount. But yeah, I thought this was a great team win overall. I mean, Ryan, what did you think?
Well, first off, I mean, actually, like talking on like the rain delay, I think I told Zach, and then shout out to Kevin who came with us as well. I was like, dude, the last time I was at a rain delay soccer game, we lost 5-1. So I am real nervous right
Yeah,
now about how
that
it's
was
going.
your classic away Ryan match though.
That's true. That was the away game. So this was different. We were at home. Once the game did get going, the energy was there. Probably, you know, this wasn't a rivalry game, but the fans, just the energy in the stadium, even after a delay, was good. First half, in the first minute of the game, probably 30 seconds of the game, our first touch off of, Barrial plays it into Vasquez. He chests it down and Lucho hits it over. And you're like, okay, these guys are at least coming out here and they're ready to go. So I thought the energy from the get-go was good. We scored a freaking goal within the first 8 minutes, and we'll get into that part of things, I'm sure. But oh man, unbelievable! It had to be Walker Zimmerman that made that mistake. Lucho just picks his pocket. Looking back at the replay from a different view, maybe there's some contact on it, maybe there's not, but if it's in real speed, he clearly takes it off his foot and takes it in on goal, chips the keeper, just a beautiful finish. So I was really happy about at least the first, 10, 15 minutes of the game and how we should have had, the lead on it.
I mean, looking at the foot mob expected goals, man, it was like a roller coaster up and down. As I was looking at the
Yeah.
full 90 minutes, I was like, we should have had more than 3 goals, it looked like, just based off the expected goal. But yeah, it, like you said, Ryan, it was just chippy from the get-go. And I think with the delay, it really, because they remembered what happened during St. Louis, they were like, okay, we need to like do something about this. Like, and I don't know, as you probably know better than I do because you're a soccer player. Like, does a weather delay really get to you, like as much as people don't realize? Or
I would say the reason why the St. Louis one was off is you're an hour behind. You just traveled. Usually the team comes in the same day as, as at least St. Louis or the day before. You kind of ramp your pregame activities up until that point so you're ready to go. And then you're in the away team locker room and there's not much space for you to warm up or to stay loose. At least in this game, they had a solid, warm up. They kind of had a good lead up into the game. And then, obviously we go down. I think it was probably about a 30 to 40-minute rain delay, and then we come back at it. So it wasn't like they were down like 2 hours before, in
right,
comparison. So I would say
like
not as much this time, but it can throw off your mojo and the way that you're feeling going into things for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
moving on to, I guess, the actual first goal. Aside from Celentano's mishap, I mean, I think the defense played really well. Holding Nashville to one shot on goal. This was the second straight game that the defense has done that, which is pretty amazing.
Hanny who? Hanny
Yeah,
who?
exactly. But I just want to touch a little bit on that Celentano mishap. Like this kind of, I want to say past like maybe 5-6 games, he's not been the guy who has 9 clean sheets. Like he's been a little flawed, if you will. And I know some of that has come on the defense a little bit, or just little things that hit off the post, hit him in the back, stuff, like little things like that suck. But at the same time, like this was all him.
Yeah, I turned to Zach actually, and I made that point. I said, Roman just doesn't look himself lately in the past few games. I don't know if it's not having the normal back line. You finally get your back line back in there, and you have Miazga that can direct things. But there's still situations where, in the past few games, like you're touching on, instead of catching the ball, he tries to punch it out. And that's a situation that I've seen as a consistent thing now. It'd be different if it was 1 or 2 games, but it's probably been 3 or 4 different times. New England game, there's a ball that's deflected into the middle because he doesn't catch the ball. It's like somebody on the goalkeeper staff maybe might want to, tell him like, look, dude, have strong hands, go in, that ball is possibly going to get deflected. Maybe that's why he just gets his hand on it and he thinks somebody in front of him is going to get to it. But you got to do better. I mean, I think you got to do better today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that specific moment, and we weren't in that angle to where he was standing either. So like that ball could have come a lot quicker. Like,
Sure.
Like it was hit with a little finesse, so it had a little curve to it. I mean, you're a pro, you should probably do better than that. But Sam, I agree with your take on that one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, though, the rest of the game was great. Like, props to Celentano for, I guess once again the back line did most of it, but I mean, he didn't allow anything else after that. He was really good. He didn't, have any scares or anything. So, I mean, props to him for kind of cleaning up the game, like throughout the, as the game went on. But yeah, I think after that, we kind of got in the groove, right? We got the first goal from the penalty, that was hilarious. Just everybody in the stadium, just everybody, even the players were like, yeah, it's a penalty. Like even the guy was like, I left my hand
you
out.
could
Like,
feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel the
ball a high
momentum
five.
building.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, and it honestly was like almost like you had to see that moment happen because of how the first one happened and it got taken away. It's like something's bound to happen at this point where this dude's gonna, hand it like you said, and there wasn't even a VAR check. There was nothing. It was a clear PK.
Yeah, it's really funny. And also, I think that was Lucho's 5th straight made PK, if I remember correctly. So
He's
3 in
props to
3
him.
games. I think too, right? He's had 3 straight games with one as well.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, that could have been a trivia. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to see them finish the PKs too, like because as we've seen for the US game, like they didn't do so well in that one, especially in, you had a PK shootout the game before, especially if it's Lucho taking the PKs consistently. A lot of these goalkeepers, we should have asked Eric this too, is they study them. They study their tendencies and the way they like to go. I mean, his PK on this one was just full of rage. I mean, it was kicked so hard that guy wouldn't have. Maybe he got a hand on it. That would have gone in still, in my opinion.
So, you move to the second half. You go into halftime 1-1, right? You come out of half, and tension is a little more fiery than it was in the first half. I want to know before, obviously, we score a second goal, but before that second goal, literally like a couple minutes before, we got 2 red cards, boys. Like, give me what the reaction was, obviously from you guys being at the stadium, but like the stadium as a whole.
I number one wanted to point on right before half how one of our players got tackled by a football player, and there was no foul called. So that kind of led into the tension that you're speaking on.
Yeah.
They VAR or video assisted review a little trip on Walker Zimmerman, but our player gets tackled like he plays football, and no VAR, no review. And the ref's like, you know what, we'll just end the half on that because I don't want to mess with this anymore. So building up into the second half, you start to play, you get into this rhythm of we're dominating possession. I think we had 55% by the end of the game. You're kind of building chances. And like you touched on, Sam, this guy gets his second yellow, the outside back for Nashville, their backup left back, because their one the week before gets another red card too. What was really funny that I didn't realize in the moment, but looking back on it, I don't know, Zach, if you caught this too, the ref forgot to give him his red card, or, he gave him the second yellow, but somebody had to remind him, like, hey, that's that second yellow, that's a red card.
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that until I rewatched the highlights. And it's really funny. Like, I don't even know what he got a yellow card for, because I tried looking at that play.
The first one or the second one?
The second one.
The second one, he tries to swipe his hand at the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what he was doing?
Yeah.
It's like
He
bump,
gets
like
he
take the
gets
FC
beat.
guy.
Yeah, he gets beat and he like tries to catch up and either tries to swipe his leg, but ends up trying to swipe the ball, and I think maybe like handballs it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
rough.
From our view, like I thought, immediately my immediate response was, I think that guy's got a yellow card already.
Yeah.
And then they like try to take it and then they stop it again and they're like, hold on a second, that's a red card. And I'm sure whoever in the First Financial Club that was sitting down there was letting them know about it.
Oh yeah, I mean they were right there because you're talking about the Arias one, right? Like him slapping the ball. I mean, Arias, to be fair, sold it a little bit, right? But I mean, that's one of those things that, I mean, I was listening to the announcers like, and they were just like, that's pure frustration right there. That's just, you not doing anything. Like you can't do anything about it, and you're just, taking it out on that.
Sam, tell me this though, frustration. At that point, you're 1-1. Do you think Nashville feels our pressure?
I mean, it all depends on what you felt in the stadium, but it definitely looked like, after Acosta's penalty, right? Like you said, going into half, that second half, FC, like even before the red cards, like we were dominating possession. We were, on the defensive, like they didn't have any chances really like in our half of the field that were legit. So I think they definitely were feeling a little bit of frustration. Like, man, like these guys keep getting like every tackle, like everything's clean.
It was tough to like play, in my opinion, because you didn't know what the ref was going to call or not call. And like at some point, it's like, I think Nashville's coach even mentioned it in his post game is like, it's hard, to tell the guys like, essentially, and I'm going to kind of fudge this, what he said, but he was basically saying you got to keep your composure. This is 2 games in a row now that they've had 2 red cards. He's like, it's hard to keep your composure though when you don't have a really good ref at the same time, which I agree. But like the cards that they got were stuff that they
can control
themselves.
Yeah,
absolutely. They did all themselves.
And the ref is going both ways. Like we both had bad refs, like it. I think the momentum, and then on FC, and then just the discipline of Nashville. Obviously, Ryan, you mentioned they had 2 red cards past game, so it's like how many red cards like I don't even get it. Like how is the coach not telling them to like stop fouling, like and
especially
seeing it
if you're
across
on
the
a
league,
yellow, especially if you're on a yellow already, like maybe the last game there was a straight red, I think, for one of the guys, but if you're on a yellow, you got to know you can't be doing stuff like that. And I have been calling. Go ahead, Sam.
No, yeah, I agree with you guys. Like it's very much one of those situations that I think I've talked about with Obi as well. Like he's been very close to where he's had that yellow and he's still just being himself, right? And so we've seen it. Luckily, this game we didn't see any, but yeah, like for the Nashville guys, like as a coach, like you gotta, especially out of the second half, right? These were cards that they had, going in the second half, and it was, kind of a done deal after you get that second yellow. Like, all right, well, you did it to yourself. So
exactly, Sam. So this is not a Nashville SC podcast, and we don't care. We took those 2 red cards, and we were like, you know what? We're gonna go and take it now. We had the momentum. Now we go up 2 guys. I briefly just wanted to kind of point out the second guy who gets the red card, Liel, should have deserved the red card a lot earlier. He was just talking to the side ref the entire game, kept going over to him. The center ref didn't care or control it at all, but normally you're not allowed to be doing that. So I thought he should have been gone earlier. He finally does go out, so we'll kind of segue into it. We go up 2 guys and we create more chances. We finally get, a good goal. Lucho plays the ball through to Arias. Arias takes a nice touch and puts it in. So I was happy for them to at least get a breakthrough. I think in the 80th minute. Does that sound right to you guys? I think it was pretty late.
It's a little early. It was earlier than that. Yeah. I think it was
67 or
75th or no. 75th minute? No. 74.
I felt like it was
74.
74. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we get that one and you're feeling good. You got, pretty much the good feeling about it. On the offensive, they really have no offense at that point. But then, to be honest, like Zach and I both felt like we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like the team
Yeah.
just kind of was like, we're just gonna kick the ball around and like maybe
flat.
create chances. But yeah, didn't you feel like that, Zach?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what you're leading up to is the pseudo fake PK, I guess, so to speak, pulled on us that he immediately called, but then he'll go to VAR in a heartbeat for Nashville. So,
Yeah.
I mean, with us, we got really lucky on that. I'm gonna be honest, judging just by his previous calls in the game, but yeah, I just with how we're up 2 guys and we pull that kind of stunt or at least get to that point, I think that's they got to do better than that.
Even to put yourself in a situation where possibly the game's determined by a terrible call,
Right.
you know, and you're up 2 guys at home. Come on. You got to do better than that.
So the energy like leading into that final goal, right? Obviously they're 2 guys down, so it's very much kind of a gimme.
Right.
Like what was so the energy up until that point? You guys are saying it was very flat, like nobody really knew what to do. So like when they scored that final goal, it was very much like a sigh of relief. Like, all right, like we got
that was the
another
final
one.
kick of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I felt like, to be honest, the tipping point of that, finally to get them kind of out of that, was to see how close it was, when that goes to VAR. And by the way, the quickest VAR review I've ever seen. So clearly the ref is very proud and did not even want to go to it because he knew as soon as he looked at it, it would be overturned. But that's besides the point. So Bupenza comes in. Boop, there it is. And Boop, there was a goal. So, nice that we get one more, like let's just keep going with the Boop. There it is. I love it.
Yeah, another debut goal. I thought that was a really cool that Tommy put the tweet out there.
Good shout.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. He said, what was it, like the 3
last
or 4,
3,
right?
Yep,
Yeah,
last 3 DP strikers that FC Cincinnati have had all have scored on their debut, but the first time FC's ever won when those guys have scored on their debut.
Yeah.
Good shout, Sam. I like that one.
Well, I needed some help with the stat, but yeah, do we have any other comments on the game?
Just real quickly, I just wanted to review the fact that now our point per game is at 2.22. Over the course of the season, again, for those looking at the season, 3 points is a win, 1 point is a draw, no points for a loss. Over the course of the season, if you average it out, we're at 2.22. We were stand 51 points in the standings. New England, who set the points record, 2019, had a points per game of 2.15. So right now we're on pace to outdo the top team. So we're on a good track.
Heck yeah. And obviously 8 points clear of the Revolution. We have the same goal differential as them. So, if anything does happen, it could come down to that. But, as of right now, I'm feeling really good about the energy going into the break. This just feels like how Cincinnati soccer should feel like, right? It's very much that feeling. And I'm, super excited about it. Zach, any other thoughts about the Nashville game?
No, you guys kind of covered everything. I'm good.
Fastest team to 50 points in history, man.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
So we'll do trivia of the week real quick, and then we'll hop into the jersey swap. But I had the option of doing the trivia of the week this week. So boys, a little weird trivia, but how many times in FC Cincinnati history have they faced a team that has gone down to 9 men in the match? Ryan, we'll start with you.
MLS and USL?
Just MLS.
Just MLS.
Yeah.
I'm going to 3 times.
3 times. Punch it in. Zach.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with once.
Once. Okay. All right. We got the answers finalized, and we will find out at the end of the podcast. I know it was a little bit of a weird question, but it's a weird circumstance. Not a lot of times you see, 2 guys get red cards in a game, but it's always nice to see for us, right? If we're the winning team, the other
Definitely
team,
like
right?
to see that. Definitely like to see that.
But yeah, so like I said, we'll hop into jersey swaps. So Ryan, we'll start with you. Jersey swap of the week. Who we got?
My jersey swap of the week is going to be Santiago Arias. Dude is now scored, I think, his 3rd overall, goal for FC, both USL and MLS combined. He ended up having like the game winner, technically, taking us to 2-1. I felt like he's played a really good right back lately. He's come into form. He's got good energy coming off the right side to kind of balance Barrial. We've talked about that all year, how much Barrial has been dominant. It's nice to see the right back contribute and get some shout. My special jersey swap of the week, though, is going to be one of my family friends who their dad threw the ball away from the Nashville player. I freaking love this guy for doing this. Everyone's so upset about it, but if I'm in his shoes, I don't blame him at all. That's awesome. I don't know if you guys saw that part or not, but
Yeah, that
was pretty.
Yeah, that was
pretty
all
amazing.
over Twitter. Zach, did you see that?
Oh yeah, and Ryan and I even saw it like live, like when the ref was coming over and like he was giving him like the stern finger and everything. Like it's like, dude, you're not gonna do anything in an MLS stadium. Like,
he tried to kick him out. He tried to kick
Right.
him out of the game.
It's like when you try to mess with the fans like that, you've totally lost the game.
You're caring more about what they're doing than what you're doing on the field or the players are doing. Like that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But this is a jersey swap. This is the good stuff. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna say that was my jersey swap, and I love that we're seeing that. But Sam, what about you? What was your jersey swap of the week?
Yeah, my jersey swap of the week. You guys, had some great ones, but I'm gonna go with Obi for my jersey swap of the week. He really, we were talking about earlier. You said Hani who, right? He really shut down Hani. I think in that midfield presence that he has. I mean, obviously, the back line did it as well, but I think Obi being that CDM for us in that kind of first line of defense for the midfield, he did a phenomenal job. Gave Hani his 6th fewest touches he's had all season, and also 6th lowest XG he's had all season. Hani was 2 for 6 on take-ons, so had 0 progressive carries, like no carries that led to any progression, towards the attack. So that was pretty cool as well. But yeah, Obi led the team with 6 tackles. And like I mentioned earlier, he didn't have a yellow in this game. And considering there were 14 cards in this game, he didn't have one of them. And it was just phenomenal to see.
That's an absolute stunner when you think about it. That is definitely up for grabs. So won a jersey swap. We'll go ahead and move on to mine. Mine was Bupenza. I had to take that one. He first debut goal, obviously. I guess you can only have one debut goal. So he had an absolute missile of a shot that I absolutely loved. Like you don't see that from any FC Cincinnati player ever. So seeing that like in action was amazing. Then obviously his goal was live. It kind of looked like he was a little off, but we're gonna disregard that. Goal's a goal. Being up 2 guys, but I mean, just seeing his energy and his flash of like brilliance is so refreshing.
Zach, do you still swap jerseys? Because, well, I guess I say, in spite of him not throwing off his, or doing a backflip, I should say, he threw off his jersey, but he didn't do a backflip, which is what we were looking for.
No, but I did get a nice fresh view of that lion tattoo. That thing is sick.
Yeah, that was nice.
True.
That was nice.
True.
So I guess we'll roll right into it, roll right along. Ryan, card of the week. Are we feeling angry about anything? I don't know if you felt some tension earlier in the podcast here of, what we were, going for card of the week, but what did you have?
Well, Sam, my card of the week, historically playing soccer throughout my whole life, I've been a little bit not great with the refs even on the field, but I'm going to go with the refs in this game because it was probably the worst performance I've seen watching a game in a long time. Didn't control the game, 14, cards total, was caring more about the fans than the product on the field. He was running his own show, and the poor guy gets hurt at the end to try to cover up the fact that he had a bad game. So that would be my card of the week. My honorary card of the week, because I'm just going to stay on the anger train here, is that Pat Noonan's not gotten one MLS Coach of the Week, not one this whole season, and we're leading the league. How does that happen? I have no idea.
That's what that is.
No idea.
Yeah, saving it for the last week, I guess, for the supporter shield. You only get one.
No idea. How has he not had it one time?
Yeah.
But anyway, Sam, what was your card of the week?
My card of the week, hopping back on the Hanny Who kind of train. He hasn't scored in 6 games. I don't think he's the leading MVP guy right now. That's my card of the week. MLS is kind of, still putting him on that pedestal. And like I said, hasn't scored in 6 games. Over those 6 games, his XG has been 0.28 over that period. That doesn't sound like an MVP to me. Now Lucho in the past 6 games, 4 goals, 4 assists over that span. That sounds like an MVP to me. I think the MVP race is flipped on its head.
Fiery take.
Well, we played him head to head, and the dude just dominated him. So
yeah,
I like it.
Consistency is key.
Yeah, Zach, card of the week. What we got?
There wasn't a lot to just hate about this week because Ryan, I mean, you covered it. The ref was like, that was it. I mean, you can't control it, but the weather, I'm gonna go with that. That's a yellow card. Yeah, it sucks. We get to drink more beer, but downside is game goes later and I have an early bedtime. So I would go with that. And I just kind of laughed at the whole Messi reveal thing with them just getting absolutely pummeled by rain. I think it looks like a hurricane, to be honest. But
welcome to Miami.
Exactly. You're going to have a lot of games like that. So really, I think overall it was a pretty good week as far as bad things happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Can't be mad about having 2 wins. So I agree, Zach.
Exactly.
Yeah, not really any. I mean, obviously, except the refs, but not really any furious, things going on. Not many 2 red cards, if you will, of the week. But kind of going into this week, I know we touched a little bit on the MLS All-Star Game in the previous part of the podcast, but we don't have any upcoming games. So is there anything, upcoming that you guys want to talk about? Any player shouts, anything like that, for maybe FCC2 or, like I said, All-Star Game stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start us off. For me, since the last time Lucho Acosta was named the captain of the MLS All-Star team, so I'm looking forward to seeing him, lead us to a win against some of the Arsenal players. I think actually going to be a pretty solid Arsenal team. So I'm looking forward to see how he kind of stacks up against those guys. That guarantees that he starts and plays good minutes. Last year, he didn't get too many minutes in the All-Star game. So looking forward to seeing him lead the charge, especially with him playing underneath Wayne Rooney, his former teammate. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Well, I was just going to quickly say, it was so nice to see Rooney and Lucho have some smiles over there with Kai Kamara. It's just, I think both were old teammates of his, so or
FC
coached
Cincinnati
under, so.
Legend Kai Kamara.
Yeah, check yourself, right? Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. Sam, if you want to comment.
Yeah, just based off the All-Star stuff. I mean, Ryan, you mentioned it, Lucho being named captain. That was, I mean, that's awesome, especially going back to DC. I think to Zach's point last podcast, this really makes those DC fans eat their words, right? For saying how much of a player he was, like, off and on, right? To go back to DC, wear the captain armband for the team that's in first place right now and has the potential to set multiple records for the MLS, I think really speaks volumes.
He gets the last laugh too, because as bad as the DC game was, the one positive, like you mentioned, Sam, is like that he's captain of the team that's playing at their stadium, because when we were there, they booed him.
Oh,
They
wow.
booed Lucho, and I thought it was terrible. Like, he was a legend there. And in front of the corner there, their supporters section, or whatever you want to call it, because it wasn't much, but they, were booing him. And I'm like, seriously, you're going to boo Lucho? So to see him come back and play in that, and they're going to have to cheer him on now, is hilarious. Love it.
Hey, can we do a quick score prediction on this All-Star game?
Ooh,
I'm
I
really
like it.
curious about what you guys have to say about this.
Yeah,
Sam, kick us
I'll
off.
go. I'll go. Shoot. I mean,
It's tough.
It is tough because I want to give our MLS All-Star some credit, but usually how those games have gone have been a little lopsided to the foreign teams. But I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal. That's when I'm gonna go. It's a close game. Arsenal scores a goal, and I think it's an exciting game.
Ryan, thoughts?
I'm going to go 2-2. I think we're going to end up having a draw. But
Yeah.
I feel like Lucho gets on the do you think it ends in a draw? I don't know. How does that work in the All-Star game? I don't know.
I would assume a shootout. I mean, it is the MLS
Yeah.
All-Star game, right?
MLS style,
That's true.
old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, keeper wars. Let's see the keeper wars.
Ooh.
I love that. Like, they have to, like, throw it in to each
Yeah.
other. Yeah, no, anyway.
Zach, what we got?
Yeah, Zach, what you got?
I was gonna go with 3-2. I think it's gonna be a fun, high-scoring
goals.
game.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. 5 goals in the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the best of the best. You're hoping they're gonna score a lot.
Yeah, that's a good
No
point.
defense. No
No,
defense.
exactly.
So to wrap up the podcast here, trivia reveal. All right. So the question was, how many times in club history has FC Cincinnati faced a team that has gone down to 9 men in the match? Mr. Ryan Elser, it was 3 times, including the national game, 3 times.
Let's go. You know, I can name the other 2, or I can name one of them. Columbus, and then I think Atlanta, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh wow.
He's just on it. He's on it.
And we ended up tying the Columbus game and maybe lost the Atlanta one the year before.
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't
look
cheat, I
too deep
swear.
into that, but I did see the names. It was Atlanta and it was Columbus.
Because I don't think we could have won against up 2 players like 3 years ago. So that's why I only thought 1.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
We
fair.
couldn't win if we had if they had 7 people on the field, probably.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so to close out the pod, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully we'll get some more MLS guys on the pod for you. Some more FC Cincinnati guys on the pod. So if you want, shout out, recommend who you want to see on the pod after this. Obviously, we need an FC Cincinnati guy on the pod. So give us your recommendations and thanks for listening.